Hi, this is Vasvi from At Home Tuition. Let us learn to find the midpoints when the coordinates of 2 points are given. Normally this is done in 2D graphs, Cartesian plane, where you have the xy graph. Given 2 points A and B, where you have the coordinates of A as x1, y1 and the coordinates of B is x2, y2, you are to find the midpoint. So the midpoint is nothing but the value at the center. So say for instance, when you are given 2 marks, okay, the marks of 2 subjects, say for instance 70 and 80, okay. How do we find the average of these 2 marks? Normally what we do is we just add up the 2 marks given and you divide them by 2, right? To get some middle value, the average of it. So this is 150 over 2 and you are left with 75, and you would see that 75 is the average, which is somewhere in between your 70 and 80, right? So that's the midpoint. Okay. The same principle is applied here, and to find the midpoint P, whose coordinate is x comma y, we use the same concept here, and to find x what we do is we add up the 2x coordinates and divide by 2, and for y you add up the 2y coordinates given and divide that by 2, okay, and thus we obtain the midpoint. So here I have a question for you. Find the midpoint of the coordinates this and this, right? So it is -7 comma -4 and the second coordinate is 7 comma 7. So let us take the first coordinate as x1, y1 and the second coordinate as x2, y2, okay? It is not always necessary that you have to take the first coordinate as x1, y1. You can even take 7 comma 7 as x1, y1 and the other coordinate as x2, y2, okay? Now to find the midpoint, we need to know what is your x and y, right? So for finding out the x, your x will be the sum of the x coordinates. So that is x1 is -7 plus the +7 divided by 2, okay? So that would be 0 divided by 2 and your x coordinate is equal to 0. Got it? Similarly, let us find out the y coordinate. So y is equal to the sum of y1 and y2, right? So that is -4 plus 7, okay, divided by 2, which is 3 over 2. So you can take it as 1.5, okay, 1.5. So the midpoint of these 2 points is P, the midpoint is P of x comma y, right, is equal to your x is 0 comma 1.5, okay. You just need to concentrate on the signs, and while adding or subtracting just be cautious and stick on to the rules and do the calculation, and it is so simple to find the midpoints. Okay, let us see yet another question. Given the one endpoint as 0 comma 2 and the midpoint as 6 comma -7, you are asked to find the other endpoint, okay. So here we know, say for instance, if I take this as A and the midpoint I take it as P, you are asked to find the B, okay. You can do it in 3 ways. One is looking at the graph, the second one is looking at the number pattern, and the third one is using the formula. I would just explain all the 3 for you to understand. So the first solution, the first way of doing it is number pattern method. So what I do is I write the points A here and the midpoint here, okay, this P, and my B should be over here, right? Okay, and this we know it is 0 comma 2 and the midpoint is given as 6 comma -7, And this is what you need to find, x comma y, right? Look at the pattern. First, let us look at the x-axis, x coordinate. So from 0, you have moved on to the x value is from 0, it is gone to 6, right? So that means you have added 6 to your x coordinate to get the midpoint. So likewise, from this midpoint, since it is a midpoint, the distance between this and this should be the same, right? So to go on to the next, the value x, what should you do? You have to add 6 more to this 6. And so your x value would be 12, okay? So your x value is now 12. Now look at the y coordinates. Here it was 2, and from 2 to this y you have, it is negative 7, right? So how many units have you gone? From 2 to 0 it is 2 units, and from 0 to negative 7 it is 7 units. So you have taken away, it is minus 9. 2 minus 9 will give you minus 7, right? So the same way you have to take away minus 9 from this to get your y, okay? So what happens? It is negative 7 plus minus 7 minus 9. So that will give you minus 16, okay? And hence your points are 12 comma negative 16. Did you understand? This is simple. Just look at the number pattern. First take the x value, see how the pattern goes. So here in this example, you are adding 6 to your x coordinate to get the midpoint. So from midpoint to the next end also you will have to add the 6, and so you got it as 12. And the y coordinate, you have taken away 9 from the 2 to get negative 7. So same way you take away 9 from again this 9 minus 7, and you are left with minus 16. So your endpoints, the b is the coordinate of b is 12 comma negative 16, okay? So this is one simple way of doing it. The next one is I use the graph, okay, and see how the pattern goes. So I just take a xy plane. So since we need numbers till 12 and 16, I just take it like 2, 4, 6, 8, okay? So this is 0. Remember that the numbers should be equidistant. This may not be up to the scale. I'm just doing it manually, okay? So in the graph sheet, you can have it more perfectly. Now for the x terms, you have to have, again I just take 2, 4 for the units, okay? Let me plot these points. So the first point A is 0, 2. So your x value is 0 and your y is 2. So your point is over here, okay? So this is your A. And let me plot the midpoint. The midpoint is 6, negative 7. So your x is 6 and negative 7. So it is somewhere here, okay? So this is 6, negative 7. And here it is 0, 2, okay? Now let us make the, see from here, see how the point is moving. From here you have to move horizontally to your right up till 6, and then you have to go down to negative 7, right? So what you have done, you have gone to the right 6, this side 6, and down you have to go, like here it is 2, right? So here you have 2 units and here you have 7 units. So you have to go down by 9 units, okay? So the same thing I do here. From here, let me move to my right 6 units. So it reaches here and on 12, okay? So I just moved 6 units this side. And from here, I have to go 9 units down. So when I go 9 units down, now it is at 7, right? 9 units I have to go down. So it will be here at this point where you have the number as 12 comma negative 16. Isn't that the answer we got before? Yeah. So this is your P and this is your B. Okay, the other endpoint. See, your answers are right. So this is yet another easy method of doing it. Using the graph you can do. And the safest method would be the formula method. Here I am going to apply the formula for which we had learned for midpoints. Okay. That is, we know, okay, let me write the values given. So A is given as 0, comma 2 and B is what you need to find out, that is x2 comma y2. Okay, I just take it as x2 comma y2 and the midpoint P is given, it is given as 6 comma negative 7. Let us see how we use the formula method to do it. So you know x is equal to x1 plus x2 over 2, right? So let me substitute the values I know. The x is given as the midpoint's x coordinate, which is 6, and x1 is given as 0 plus x2, which is what you need to find out, divided by 2. Okay? So to eliminate the denominator, you multiply both sides by 2, right? Times 2 this side as well as times 2 this side. So these two will get cancelled. So you're left with 12 equals 0 plus x2, and that implies your x2 is 12. Got it? So this is x coordinate is 12 for the endpoint, the second endpoint. Likewise, find the y. So y equals y1 plus y2 by 2, right? y2 over 2. So the y value here is negative 7 equals y1. y1 is given as 2 plus y2 is what you need to find out, divided by 2. So multiply both sides by 2 to get rid of the denominator 2. So you get negative 14 equals 2 plus y2. So that implies your y2 equals negative 14 minus 2. Take this negative 2, positive 2 to the other side. It is minus 2. So you are left with minus 16. So you got your x coordinate and the y coordinate of the endpoint. Therefore, you can conclude that your B is, the coordinates of B is, first write the x coordinate and then the y coordinate. See, in all the three methods you get the same answer, but the formula method is the safest method so that you don't go wrong anyway, provided you concentrate on your signs and the calculation. Hope this video was useful to you. Bye. Take care.